Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3 FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. A former Auditor General, Daniel Domolevo, criticizes President Akufo-Addo for presiding over alarming levels of corruption in Ghana. Also on the program, massive global IT outage hit banks, airports, supermarkets across the world. Queues are widening in airports, with healthcare services also affected. Also on the program, Electoral Commission scheduled to appear before Parliament today, Friday, July 19, to brief the House on preparations towards the 2024 general election. And much later, Progressive School Feeding Caterers Association of Ghana refute claims in findings of Auditor General's report that pupils are being fed unhealthy food under the school feeding program. Thank you very much for joining us today. A former Auditor General, Daniel Domolevo, has stressed on the need to commercialize Ghana's first fight against corruption, maintaining that government itself can be an accomplice in corrupt practices. At an accountability lecture on the progress of Ghana's fight against corruption in Accra, Daniel Domolevo noted that this, together with the consolidation of the country's anti-corruption institutions, are the surest ways to stop the canker.
We have so many scattered laws about corruption. Is it possible that we can consolidate them? And when we consolidate them, is it also possible that we can put together some of the institutions? For instance, I hope you know by now that I like OSP. I think he's a fantastic young man. Can we combine office of the OSP and YOCO as one institution so that we give that mandate to the office? Because YOCO has offices all across the country already. If you want to build regional offices for OSP and district offices, do you know how much we are talking about? It's a lot of money.
That was Daniel Domolevo, a former Auditor General. Now, the latest Afful barometer has revealed that 67% of Africans believe their governments are failing in the fight against corruption. The report further states that a significant 71% of Africans who report corruption to the authorities risk facing retaliation. Now, with regard to Ghana and corruption, some 77% believe corruption has increased. And on corruption at the presidency, 75% of respondents believe corruption exists at the seat of government, with 55% believing that all persons at the presidency are corrupt, whilst 40% believe not all persons are corrupt. Let's engage co-chair of Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Adam Senanu. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Are you surprised with the results of the Afrobarometer survey?
Well, yes, a bit surprised. The percentages seem quite high. It looks like people are seriously dissatisfied with things going on. I wasn't expecting as high as I saw, 77%. I thought that was rather high.
Having made that point, we have a former Auditor General, Daniel Domolevo, recommending that the country commercializes the fight against corruption. Bearing in mind the point you just made, would you share that same opinion with him?
Sorry, the line broke. Something about Mr. Domolevo talking about commercializing the fight against corruption.
Exactly, and was asking whether you agree with him or you share that same opinion.
Well, I don't know what exactly he means about commercializing. I mean, if he means educating every citizen much more comprehensively about their obligations, I agree with him. I mean, one of my third chances is to say that, unfortunately, we've done a poor job of teaching citizens about their obligations as codified in Article 41. I mean, 80 to 90% of Ghanaians do not know their responsibilities as citizens, which include reporting fraud, crime, theft, corruption when you see it. So to that extent, that even our curricula should be changed so that our young people understand it, that NCC should be funded, so we do a lot more education there, and that we will be holding people accountable. I think that's important.
I mean, we've been talking about this subject of corruption for a very long time. Do you expect things to improve with these reports coming up and kind of giving us the impression that we're getting worse?
Well, yes, I think it's a matter about changing strategy. I think at this point we should understand that the fingers point to ourselves. We have a problem in respect of ethics. I don't think that the old adages of honesty is the best policy, or justice denied, justice not delivered timely is justice denied. I mean, there are things that we ought to go back to fundamentals and also change the strategy. The way we're going about it now is not working. It is because we have too many individuals who are not willing to stand for what is right when it matters most. We should look at ourselves and do a lot more effort in training people to be ethical and to have strong values and to promoting those values in all sectors of our country. So I think it's a change of strategy, but definitely there is still opportunity to do better.
There's opportunity to do better and a change of strategy. Adam Senano, co-chair, Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Now, massive global IT outage has hitting industries across the country, across the world, with airlines, shops, and healthcare affected. Queues are said to be growing at many airports. Now, in the United States, the Federal Aviation Administration said that major airlines, Delta United and American Airlines, were grounded on Friday morning due to a communication issue. In Australia, flight information screens at Sydney Airport went blank and self-service checkout at supermarket chains, Woolworths and Coles showed error messages. Now, Sydney Airport said that flights were arriving and departing, but that travellers should expect delays. The outage is said to have been caused by a problem with the systems of CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity firm whose software is used by industries around the world to protect against hackers and outside breaches. CrowdStrike says that the global IT issues are caused by quote-unquote defect in content update. Let me read to you a full statement from the company. It says CrowdStrike is actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows host. Now, Mac and Linux hosts are not impacted. This is not a security incident or cyber attack. The issue has been identified, isolated, and a fix has been deployed. We refer customers to the support portal for the latest update and will continue to provide complete and continuous updates on our website. We further recommend organizations ensure they are communicating with CrowdStrike representatives through official channels. Our team is fully mobilized to ensure the security and stability of CrowdStrike customers. So that was a statement from this firm assuring people that they are working on the challenge. Let's get a quick word from expert Dr. Edward Dan Swanson, Department of Computer Science, Cybersecurity Lab of the University of Ghana. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me.
We have not been hit yet, but should we be worried?
I don't think so, because this particular incident, thankfully, is not a fiber cut cable or undersea cable that has been disrupted like what happened the other day. And then the issue of a cybersecurity attack is also not something that has also been reported as well, because I can confidently say that my checks with Microsoft do indicate that it was a software glitch that actually occurred, where a wrong software update or patch was actually used, and that actually caused this particular glitch. So as you rightly mentioned in your news reportage, that this didn't affect those on Mac and Linux operating systems.
A BBC report earlier stated that, for instance, Microsoft 365 was also affected. I know you just referred to Microsoft, but what you're essentially saying is that we shouldn't be worried for those who use the purchased Microsoft suite, as it were.
Yes, normally what happens is that the updates are not carried out globally at the same time. They are usually carried out in batches. So it's based on where it was actually first carried out or the target of the update that they actually wanted to carry out. For instance, since you can check, it actually happens in the America to Asia, Venezuela, and some part of Asia. And then we also had an incident report from South Africa, which has also just been reported that South Africa also had a slight security breach with their payment system. But thankfully, this is not a cyber attack. It is not an internet disruption that has occurred, but this is simply faulty security update or software updates that has led to this software glitch, which sometimes do occur, even though it's regrettable because the airline industries were affected. Some hospitals were also affected in the New Zealand and all that because they also hugely rely on softwares and the applications that comes from Microsoft. The airline was the most difficult one because airlines that were just about London actually got affected by this particular glitch, so had to be allowed to go round because they couldn't get the right information they needed to be able to do the landing. So these are some of the areas that were actually affected, as well as some payment system, but it is not so widespread as in a global, 10 kind of event. So for now, let's keep our fingers crossed. Even though when the incident was first reported, it was in minor sectors of our economy. But now, later on, it actually got escalated. And I'm being told that they are currently working on it to actually undo the update that was carried out in order to bring in the right software update.
Briefly before you go, we do know that CrowdStrike, for instance, is a cybersecurity firm whose software is used by industries around the world to protect, and that's the point I want to make, to protect against hackers and outside breaches. In the meantime, whilst the system has a problem, is there a possibility of breaches happening even within the short time as they work to restore everything to normalcy?
Yes. The good news is that the issue has been identified. And once it has been identified, that means it has its solution, even though it might take time, because even when the glitch is being undone in terms of redoing or undoing the update that actually went in, it will take some time before the effect would accordingly reflect in all the systems that actually got affected. So yes, this would remain as it is now, but it will take a while for it to actually turn back to normalcy.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive view there, Dr. Edward Danswason. He's with the Department of Computer Science Cybersecurity Lab at the University of Ghana. Thank you for speaking to us now. The Electoral Commission is scheduled to appear before Parliament today, July 19, 2024, to brief the House on preparations for the December 7 general election. This meeting, set to take place in the Parliamentary Chamber, is a response to a request from members seeking to understand the level of the EC's preparedness for the upcoming polls. The second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrea Siama-Mwako, announced this during proceedings on Thursday, July 18. Now, on July 17, the Electoral Commission reiterated its commitment towards an open and transparent electoral process in December. During the presentation of the Democracy Cup to the EC by the leadership of Parliament, the chairperson, Jean Mensah, assured of transparent elections and urged political leaders to accept the outcome of the polls.
Just like the football match, we serve as the midwives that birth the elections. We are the referees that conduct and that lay the election and the processes that lead to, the election day itself. And so as referees, we are committed to, ensuring that our activities from now in the lead up to the election and all our electoral processes are transparent, they are open, they are fair, and they are involve the collaboration of our key stakeholders, i.e. the political parties and the citizenry. So like the referee of the match this afternoon, we commit to ensuring transparency in all aspects of our work. Our activities are open, as I mentioned, right from the registration through to the declaration of elections. Everything is done in the full glare of the public. Nothing is hidden. And we will commit to this, to maintaining and ensuring that level of transparency across all aspects of our work. And so we also want to entreat and call upon the contestants of the election to accept the outcomes of the election. Surely there will be a winner and surely there will be losers. And so we all call on our contestants to accept the outcomes of the elections, because we undertake and we commit to ensuring that the elections are free, they are fair, they are credible, they are transparent.
EC boss Jean Mensah will stay on elections, and some young people are getting straight on what they expect from flag bearers before they choose who to vote for. They think that Ghanaians deserve better leaders than they have had over the years. I interacted with some of them on the University of Ghana campus in the first of our series, Young Voters. All around the world, the voices of young people are becoming louder and louder. They are making demands of their governments. They are making these demands through protests. The latest example is in Kenya, where the President William Ruto has had to bow to pressure from the youth. Another example is in South Africa, where for the first time in the history of the ANC post-apartheid, that dominant party has had to struggle in parliament, although the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, retained his seat at the presidency. Right here in Ghana, the country has about 5 months to its general election. It's not really about how many months are left, but what the people are asking for, what they have seen over the years. In 2023, the Electoral Commission registered about 910,000 new registrants. The Electoral Commission says that 81% of those numbers are first-time voters. That was in 2023. This year, 2024, the Electoral Commission has registered over 700,000 prospective voters. Out of that number, again, over 81% of them represent first-time voters. So what are the issues that they are going to look at? Mind you, the tables have been set and the battle lines have clearly been drawn, with the opposition NDC going with Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as the running mate, a woman for the first time in the country's history. The NPP also made its decision very clear. It has chosen the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, to partner economist Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to go into this year's presidential election. And so Ghanaians have clarity as to what they are going in for December 7. What are the issues that are going to determine who becomes the next president of the country? Go with me. Let's get this done. My name is Beatrice Adu, and you're welcome to the first episode of Young Voters. We are right here at the Department of Sociology, the University of Ghana, and I do have with me students from different departments studying different courses at this university. I do have on the left here with me Emmanuel Ejay, right?
Yes, please.
Emmanuel Ejay, you're studying what exactly?
I'm reading political science and philosophy, level 300 students.
And I have on my right here Eric Afezi. Did I get it right? Okay, Eric, what are you studying?
Philosophy and sociology.
Lovely. And Charles Ejay. We have two Ejays on board. Charles, what are you studying?
I'm studying economics major, philosophy minor.
Wonderful. And then the last but not the least, the only woman on board here. Oh, well, plus me. Precious Adade. Did I get it right?
Daddy.
Precious Daddy, what are you studying?
Banking and finance.
Lovely. So we do have these individuals here. Let me start with you, political science student. We are in the political year. You voted in 2020. Tell me what issues you looked at in 2020 and 4 years down the line, almost 4 years, whether those issues for which you voted have been resolved, and whether or not they've been resolved is informing you of your next choice in 2024.
The Free SHS initiative proposed by our sitting president, His Excellency Nana Adu, I would be a beneficiary. That was one of the reasons that championed why I voted for the NPP in 2020, because aside me, there are highly underprivileged people that wouldn't have had a chance to enter into our secondary schools, but because of the Free SHS, they have been able to attain some level of education. Yes. And looking at the nature or the evolving nature of this world, is like we are growing to the extent that without education, you are just a nobody. So if there is a president, there is someone with that particular knowledge that is bringing on board, making education free up to the secondary level, I think he needed my vote. He made a number of promises, and some have been done, example, the Free SHS, but we look forward to seeing more. But here we are now.
What does that "but here we are now" mean? You're disappointed, or you think that you still made the right choice, and so 2024 all the way, Napo Baumia?
This is an issue of intellect, honestly. I'm a political science student, and I just don't vote anyhow. I vote on the frontliners, what they are bringing on board, what they've done, their past records. Now, looking at the two, that is the NPP and NDC. Ghana is a multi-party state, but it's almost turning into a two-party state. That is the NDC and the NPP.
I agree with that.
Yes. So looking at the two, from the two parties, that of the NPP and the NDC, both the aspiring presidents, they've all been vice presidents before. And the running mates, both of them, they've all been education ministers before. Voting for them will be decided by what they were able to implement, what they were able to do in their time in office.
Because obviously you said that you benefited from it. Do you think it's been managed properly? Just in like 30 seconds, then I'll move to your other colleagues.
To the best of my knowledge, that is the best they can do.
Let me come to you, Eric Afezi. I will take it from where Emmanuel left off, which is about the quality of the individuals that are going into this election. You're a second-time voter, right? You voted in 2020, and you're hoping to vote this year?
No.
You don't want to vote this year. So then tell me why.
I think why I voted for the MPP, they've disappointed me. Their first term, I saw it as they are now starting. So maybe after 2020, they can just better what they've done. But it looks as if whatever they did from 2017 to 2020, they are just destroying everything.
And you heard some students there at the University of Ghana interacting with me earlier. Let's have a quick conversation with Musa Dankwa. He's the Executive Director at Global Info Analytics. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Hello? Hello, Mr. Dankwa. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Good afternoon to you. I hope you heard the children, the young adult who gave their opinions as to who they'll vote for. We even heard one of them saying that he wasn't going to vote. Are these surprising to you, or perhaps these are some of the things you find during your own research on the ground?
Right. Thank you very much for having me. What they are saying is absolutely what you see in the data. Some of the younger voters are delusional about the politics, and they are undecided, some of them, and some say they will not vote. In terms of the key issues, if you look at the issues that bother older voters, it's exactly the same issue that bother younger voters. If you look at those who are voting for the first time, 22% of them said economy is their issue, whereas 20% said jobs and 19% say education. If you look at their older voter counterparts, job is around 34%, so slightly 2% higher than amongst first-time voters. When it comes to jobs, it is 22%, which is about 1% lower than the first-time voters. And when it comes to education, it's 19% for first-time voters and 16% for older voters. So you can see that education is about 3% higher among first-time voters than it is among the older voters. Basically, the issues are the same, but with slight differences.
The issues are the same, you say. Do you think there's a possibility of changing the minds of these individuals if something is done within this short period ahead of the election?
As for what can be done, I think probably it is too late to do something. But what they would like to hear is what you have to plan for them going forward, and whether they would trust the person making that promise to deliver it. I think at this stage, it's about trust on who has better ideas to provide the needs of young people.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Musa Dankwa. That's all time will allow us for. He's the Executive Director at Global Info Analytics. Thank you for speaking to us. Now, the National School Feeding Secretariat says it will conduct its own independent investigations into the wrongful payment of monies to caterers for the school feeding program. This is after the Auditor General cited the Secretariat for wrongful payment of over 2 million Ghana cedis to caterers for no work done over the last 5 years. Siba Alpha is the head of public relations at the School Feeding Secretariat.
Of the reports and its content, we also want to put out that we are also instituting our own investigation so that we're able to respond appropriately. So under the circumstances, I'm not able to say much until we are done with this investigation so that we share the outcome of everything. No, I've just told you, we will set out so many parameters to look at the issues that have been raised. Mind you, is the auditor report, the performance report is talking about issues that started since 2017. So look at the years involved. So that means we have to take our time to do a meticulous job by investigating all the issues.
You have Siba Alpha. He's the head of public relations at the School Feeding Secretariat. Meanwhile, the Progressive School Feeding Caterers Association of Ghana has refuted claims in the findings of the Auditor General's report that pupils are being fed unhealthy food under the school feeding program. The group, even though admitted that the quantity of the food given the children is not enough, the caterers do their best to cook healthy foods for them, despite being owed by the Secretariat. Dorothy Oforisapong spoke to the media in Kumasi.
We, the school feeding caterers, do appreciate the wonderful work done by the Auditor General, but disagree with some of its findings captured in the report, indicating that the school feeding caterers cook unwholesome food for the peoples in Ghana. The fact that we do appreciate the work done by the Auditor General, we find it strange that the report generalized the whole Ghana caterers cooking unwholesome food for the children. We do agree with the report stating that the quantity of the food served is inadequate because of the money involved. The Secretariat has not overpaid any caterer, but rather owing some of the caterers since 2017 till date. We are pleading with the Auditor General to reinvestigate this. Every school has been attached with coordinator or coordinators who goes round unannounced to inspect and taste the food. In conclusion, although the amount involved per child is insufficient, the caterers are all mothers and will never and ever use unwholesome foodstuff to cook for the children, because the caterers eat the same food, including some of the teachers. On this note, we are therefore appealing to the NGOs and philanthropists across the world to come to the aid of the government to improve the school feeding program.
You heard Dorothy Oforisapong. She's the secretary for the Progressive School Feeding Caterers Association of Ghana. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Imagine a day where the entire family will converge with music, food, family, water park enjoyment, and exciting activities like water slides, go-karting, horse riding, jet skiing, canopy walk, and so many games with the entire family. Welcome to 3FM's Family Fun Day at Marina Park on Founders Day holiday on August 5th, 2024, where wonder meets adventure and joy knows no bounds. Join us for a holiday of excitement with a day full of fun and celebration of the most precious thing of all, family. Is a 3FM Family Fun Day. So mark your calendar.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Ghana ranks 5th in Africa for visa openness improvements. We'll bring you details of a 2023 report by the African Development Bank, AFDB.
Ghana is doing very well, actually. It's number 5. They do not require visas from African countries, 25.
Also, Bank of Ghana shuts down Deknok investments for engaging in unlicensed deposit taking. We'll bring you details. My name is Manu. Afful, do stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. In our first story, Ghana ranks 5th among African countries in terms of improvement in visa openness, according to the 2023 Visa Openness Report by the African Development Bank, AFDB. The report highlights a significant 8% increase in countries that do not require visas for travel across the African continent between 2016 and 2023.
Ghana is doing very well, actually. It's number 5. They do not require visas from African travelers, from African countries, 25. And then 26 countries can get visas on arrival. So it's quite easy for Ghana to join the top tier countries if they can just decide that we are not requiring visas from Africans. Then they can become the champions of free movement on the continent. I think where we also saw a major improvement is on visa required. 2016, 55% of African travelers needed visas, but now we're sitting at 46%. So basically it has been a decrease of almost 10%. We are seeing the numbers of countries that are improving, growing. For 2023, 15 countries improved their rankings. And then we saw one major improvement where Rwanda decided to join the 3 countries that do not require visas from African travelers.
Well, you heard the voice of Zodwa Mabuza, Principal Regional Integration Officer at AFDB. In more business stories, the Bank of Ghana, in collaboration with the Ghana Police Service, has shut down Deknok investments in Nungwa and Ashaiman. According to a press release from the central bank, this is because the said entity was engaging in unauthorized deposit-taking activities, violating the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016, Act 930. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more.
The Ghana Police Service, working alongside the Bank of Ghana, has closed down Deknok Investments, which operated branches in Nungwa and Ashaiman in the Greater Accra region. The closure, effective today, comes as a result of Deknok Investments' involvement in unauthorized deposit taking, a violation of Section 6, Subsection 1 of the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act 2016, Act 930. The enforcement action was executed under the Section 20, Subsection 2G of Act 930, which empowers the Bank of Ghana to take such measures against institutions operating without the necessary licenses. The central bank says the police are conducting further investigations into the operations of Deknok Investments. The Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Police Service have urged customers of Deknok Investments to remain calm during the investigation. The authorities assured that all stakeholders and the general public would be kept informed of subsequent actions. In the statement, the Bank of Ghana reiterated its commitment to clamping down on illegal deposit-taking activities and emphasized that offenders would be prosecuted in accordance with the law. The bank also assured the public of its dedication to maintaining the integrity and stability of the country's financial system.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on Bank of Ghana shutting down investment firm Deknok Investments for engaging in unlicensed deposit taking. Away from that, the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa is launching a significant initiative to bridge the infrastructure gap in Ghana and other African countries. According to strategic advisor to the president of the bank, Fatima El Sheikh, this move will help Ghana develop its natural resources, leading to development and job creation.
And we're here looking at human-centered infrastructure, which is the infrastructure that is to do with education, human development, and to do with health, access to basic services, housing. So this is the infrastructure we look at. But we also look at infrastructure that connects the continent to each other. So if you wish, we're looking at roads that liberate isolation. Many of the continent countries are actually landlocked countries, and we try to build a network of infrastructure that helps trading and helps exchange of commodities within the continent itself. We also focus on areas that has to do with small and medium enterprises because we see them as an opportunity for youth and women. And in that regard, Batia is very committed to generate more SMEs, but also to create an environment where SMEs will foster and flourish as a means for job creation, as a means of poverty eradication, and also as a means for enhancing household income.
Well, strategic advisor to the president of Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa there, Fatima El Sheikh. Also, the West Africa Civil Society Institute is calling on African leaders to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Head of Policy Influence and Advocacy, Omulara Balogun, during a press briefing ahead of the 20th anniversary of Economic, Social and Cultural Council of the African Union, stressed that businesses suffer the most when war breaks out in any country, hence the need to protect them through peace.
When crisis blows out, businesses are the first to shut down. So our government owes it to us to create an enabling environment, a peaceful environment for life, properties and businesses to be secured and thrive. We cannot boast of Burkina Faso having something like that, nor Mali, nor Niger, nor Conakry, even at this time. Right. So these are some of the roles that we can play as civil society, engaging policymakers, creating awareness, advocating, mobilizing other stakeholders to be part of this movement. Because when we have the right environment to promote economic transformation, then we can begin to talk about sustainable development. We can begin to talk about kicking poverty, zero poverty. We can begin to talk about equality. We can begin to talk about regional integration. We can begin to talk about, an improvement in our livelihood.
You have the head of policy influence and advocacy at West Africa Civil Society Institute, Omulara Balogun, there. Before we go, our top stories. Ghana ranks 5th in Africa for visa openness improvement. We brought you details of a 2023 report by the African Development Bank, AFDB. Bank of Ghana shuts down Deknok Investments for engaging in unlicensed deposit taking. We brought you details of that too. Well, that will be all for the Business News, Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly log on to our website on www.3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.